for. Okay, so yeah, she expects her children to be children, you know, and so she can, you know, teach them and guide them properly, and her man to be, you know, loving toward her and supportive, you know, of her, you know, not just one way. She expects the relationship to be symbiotic. She supports him and he supports her. It's supposed to be both ways, you know. Anyway, so she's not Lilith. She's not the devil, okay? Eve is the devil. That's the devil, okay? Because there were only 3 people in the garden, or three beings in the garden. Remember, Adam, Hawa, and the devil. So if now we got Lilith, Eve, and Adam, where's the devil? And if Eve is supposed to be the second woman created for Adam, and the first woman was supposedly Lilith sent away, and then Adam and Eve had sex, and this one is supposed to be still a virgin, Lilith, right? Okay, then this is the first one created, and it stated he created her for him. Then where did this one come in? Where did Eve come in? But there's no devil around. Eve is the devil. Eve is the devil, the one that's created. That is the devil, right? Not Lilith. Okay. Lilith is Hawa, and Eve is that third party, right? Eve is that third party. She's that one that third party. Okay, the one that took the manhood, right? Okay. Anyway, so just as the story was told, related with the mythology twist, okay, as we said, just as the story of Adam and Eve was told, and Lilith was told with a mythological twist, and many mythological twists and turns. The devil, aka is Eve, okay, and his name is Shaitan. His real name is Shaitan, okay, because he entered Adam from behind, okay, he entered Adam from behind. So he's Shaitan, okay, when he took Adam's manhood. And that's why homosexuality is haram. That's why anal sex is haram, because it spiritually contaminates the soul, right? And the Shaitan raped Adam, right? He took his manhood. He raped the black Adam of his manhood, of his manpower, and then they blamed the black woman. They blamed Hawa. Thus, it was the seed of man. It became contaminated. Okay, as it's reflected by Cain. Okay, it became contaminated with shit. Okay, it became contaminated with shit and the spirit of shit. Okay, okay, and it's also why. The prophet born of a virgin was born of a woman only, not of a man's seed. Because the seed of man, the Y chromosome, is infected. Right? It's been infected. Okay? But inshallah that should be, I won't say nothing about that, but the seed has been infected, right? That's why the Adam had to be created by the body of a woman, and the spirit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the angel was brought life from Allah to, I won't say brought life, but he was created with the Holy Spirit, right? The prophet born of a virgin was created with the Holy Spirit. Okay, not the spirit of man, not the contaminated spirit of man. Okay, as I said, he was a physical embodiment of the woman, not physical, because the Holy Spirit, was masculine spirit, so the spirit, made him male, right? Okay. And it's also why the seed of the woman is supposed to be protected, right? Protect the seed of the woman. Okay? And it's also why the Jew, to be Jew, one had to be born of a Jew mother. It was because the seed of the woman, or the Y chromosome, was uncontaminated, right? Because it was a different type of energy than the male, okay? It had another kind of energy. Well, I would say the male, when Allah created woman from man, He divided the energy, right? So woman and man were compatible energy, but the woman had got her energy from the male, right? So what I won't put what I believe, okay? Anyway, so okay, so Allah divided the energy between male and female, right? But the energy was still of male, right? It was still of Adam. Okay. But the Y chromosome was contaminated, right? Because the outcast spirit had basically usurped the manhood from Adam, and taking his manhood made him a woman, right? He was physically a man, but he didn't have manpower, so that made him a woman, right? And that's where you get your homosexual males from, right? You get your homosexual males from, okay? Your homosexual beta males, okay? Now, I'm not saying, again, same gender, because they're born that way, but beta males take it as a religion, okay? They take their homosexuality as a religion because their father is homosexual, okay? And but the same genders, they are born that way because of what happened in the garden, right? Okay, the robbing of the man's male power. Okay, so while it's Islam, Christianity, and Judaism speaks against same gender relationships, Allah is their judge, not man or woman. But the homosexuals who promote homosexuality as a religion, that is that is a crime against, that is a spiritual crime against humanity, right? To try to force others to be, to worship, to choose homosexuality as a religion, right? Genders, same gender relationships, they don't try to force anybody else to be, to choose their, relationship orientations. But the homosexuals try to make it, a religion, and try to covertly promote it. Okay? So, anyway, so the Y chromosome is contaminated. Because the manpower has been usurped out of it, right? And made it basically a woman, taking the manpower, so that's like a woman in a man's body. Okay? Okay. Now, in some cases, not all cases, right? Not all men are same gender relationships. That's for certain. That's obvious, right? Okay, but in the cases that there are, okay, that some cases it is the case. Not all cases, but in some cases it is. Okay? Now, and you have a homosexual culture of death incarcerating black men and, to compel them to become homosexuals, right? Okay, so that it can be promoted and destroy their manhood, right? Okay. Okay, and Mexican men too, because all who get caught up in the, prison industrial complex are subject to it. And then when they go through the they go through the in politics, how, well, not for politics, but in the criminal justice system, how they try to lower the age for young males, young people to go to be incarcerated, right? Incarcerate them as children. I mean, that's insanity. That's totally insanity, right? Incarcerating children as adults, putting them in those harsh, institutions, prison industrial complex, placing them in those systems and subjecting them to that, to becoming permanently homosexuals, right? Okay. Anyway, so the male chromosome has been jeopardized, right? Has been not jeopardized? Has been been jeopardized, right? So, and it's why, right, anal sex is prohibited in Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, because it contaminates the seed. It contaminates the spirit, right? But it is permissible. It was permissible in the Babylonian spirituality, as I said. Homosexuality, it's promoted as a religion. Anal sex is promoted as a religion because what it neutralizes the male and the female, right? The male is to become like the female, and the female is to become like a male. That neutralizes gender, right? It's supposed to neutralize the gender, whereby it don't make you a male. It don't matter if you're male or female, right? As long as you got it, as long as they, the anus serves as the genital to be intercoursed with, right? So it doesn't matter what gender you are. It's just if the person is as it relates to anal sex, right? Okay. So that's why it's promoted among the homosexual culture of death, right? So as we said, it's promoted among the Babylonian cult. And is spiritually promoted. All men and women, in fact, are to have sex. It's supposed to be sexually active anally, right? Though it's not permitted in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, right? Okay, now, among all men and, well, we said that, okay. Now, so, it's, okay. It is what homosexuality, the homosexual transgender movement is about, a return to Babylon. Okay, the goal is for everyone to have a phallic, man and woman. It was man who was to be, okay, so we said that. So it was man who was raped in the garden, and his manpower was stolen from him, and he was, and then he tried to go to the woman, Hawa, and take her spiritual power, okay, her spiritual life from her, to restore his own, what he had lost, okay? Because I'm sure he probably felt weak after that, so he went to her, and that, because we told him to probably go to his wife and take it from her, okay? And what did I say that? Oh yeah, and it's what misogyny is all about. The Caucasoid culture of death is to take power from the woman, right? Okay. Now, when the corporate power takes when the corporate commercial culture of death, when the commercial corporate culture of death takes the manpower, uses manpower to build his paradigm, right? His Babylonian commercial empire. Then, so the man will feel empowered because his life is so regulated. Man's life is so regulated, you know. To feel empowered, he's to oppress the woman. Mate, you're the king of the castle, right? You're the king of the castle. She's to do what she's told, right? She's to subjugate herself. She's to find validation in pleasing you. Okay, her only true happiness, the happiness of a woman, is to please her man, right? And if she doesn't please her man, she can be violated. And if she speaks against pleasing of the abuse that comes along with, you know, the only validation that she's to receive, you know, she speaks against that, pleasing her man and doing serving whatever his needs are, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, or what have you, then she could be abused, right? And if she speaks against it, then she can be verbally abused or physically abused again, right? As I said. Now, so because her happiness, she's to be, you know, he's to, you know, her social status is to be validated by his approval of her, right? And if he doesn't approve of her, then she's to have no social status. She's to be looked down upon by society, right? The male hierarchy, misogynist society, right? Because she's not pleasing her man, because his approval of her is what validates her. Okay, what gives her social credibility, social standing, right? So she's to please him at all cost. And a black woman just don't do that. So she's to be a social outcast, a social pariah, because she won't please her man. And that's the cry of the black woman today. She won't, like Lilith and Eve, she won't please her man. But every other woman is supposed to be like Eve. Every other woman is supposed to be like the devil. They're supposed to take their manhood, right, by taking their money, right? But the women who play that game with men, who be indirect with men, when a woman is direct with a man, she's supposed to be a bitch. But as long as a woman is manipulative, and then when a man wakes up to a woman's so-called manipulating ways, then she's supposed to be a gold digger manipulator, right? But if she's direct, like the black woman is direct, okay, then she's a bitch. But if she, you know, plays the game to get his money, you know, to get him to, if she plays the game to be a gold digger, to be a manipulator, you know, and get all the gold, that's a Eve, that's a woman. But if she's direct, you know, and seeks, you know, to have a balance in the relationship, not whereby she has to get her social credibility from accommodating whatever he says, you know, whatever, by pleasing him 100%, you know, or you know, then, you know, if she speaks against that, she goes against that grain, then she's a bitch. She's intolerable, you know. But if she manipulates it, like the so-called Eve, like the devil manipulated Adam to take his manhood, to take his wealth, to get him to buy her a car, to get him to buy a house, get him to take care of the kids, get him to pay the bills, get him to do everything. She manipulates it. That's okay. Then she's just being a woman. But if she's direct, she's a bitch. She's intolerable. You know, she has to be conniving. And that's what the Eve does. And that's what's supposed to make her a woman. If she's, you know, she manipulates her way into getting what she wants. But the black woman's just direct. She'll tell you what she don't like. Direct. She'll tell you what she does like. Direct. She'll be a woman about it. Direct. She doesn't have to kind of bow down and play the game to get. She's not playing the game to get what she wants. And that's not permissible, because she's supposed to, the real woman is supposed to, you know, please her man. She's supposed to do what he says, accommodate him, you know, and he's supposed to you know, and he's supposed to validate, and her pleasing him is supposed to validate her as a woman. But the black woman don't play that game. Pleasing him validates her as a woman. No, that's not what validates her as a woman. Being a woman and doing what a woman is supposed to do, okay? And that is be a woman, right? Like Hawa was a woman, right? And taking care of his children, taking care of his home, taking care of his needs, you know, and he do the same for her, right? And being able to speak her mind, you know, what displeases her, not going behind her back, and then when she finally gets enough, taking him to court and sue him for everything he's got, right? And that's when, you know, some of those men wake up when, you know, they realize, oh, they had a manipulator all the time, right? Okay, so that is, you know, unfortunately, the way black women are, as I said, you know, seen or to be perceived, right, as the Lilith, right, and other women are to be seen as Eve, the second woman that was created by Adam, by the Creator, to accommodate man's needs, right? Because Lilith wouldn't bow down, the black woman wouldn't bow down. She was intolerable. She was wicked, right? Okay, and Eve knew how to treat her man. She knew how to treat Adam, right? And they fell from the garden, right? But how did Lilith fall? If Lilith didn't do the bad thing, why did Lilith fall? So you got to ask yourself that. Okay, okay, so that's how they wanted to get the power from the woman. But the woman said, you know, the Hawa said no, or the black woman said no. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to say what I like and what I don't like, because I know who I am, right? I'm not going to play this game of, you know, of I got to be validated through you, through making you happy. That's where my validation comes from. That's where my credibility comes from. That's where my social standing comes from. But it has to be validated by you. If I don't please you, then I get no credibility. If I don't make you happy, okay? Okay. But Eve manipulates him to make him happy, right? Okay, just like Satan manipulates him to make him happy, right? Okay. Anyway, it's like Satan manipulated Adam to make him happy, right? Okay. Now, so Adam tried to get the power back from Hawa, and or the man tries to get the power from woman, okay? And like tries to get it back from black woman, and black woman says no, that ain't gonna happen, okay? We can both have power, okay? We can both stand in our own power, stand in our own dignity, okay? Okay, so as I said, try to take it back from the woman, because it must be recall. Now, as I said, you must recall that the woman, the energy came from the woman in the first, the energy came from the man in the first place, right? The energy came from the man in the first place. Okay, so he felt he could just, you know, come in and take it. Okay, take the power back. Okay. Because, okay, now, so he was only taking back what was his, what belonged to him, right? Okay. Let me see what that says. Okay. Okay, so he was only basically taking back what was his, what he thought was his. Okay. Oh, and that was basically, okay, reversing, you know, what Allah had created. Allah created the woman from man, right? So to take the power from woman was basically to put the body of woman back into the body of man, right? Okay? If Adam was going to if Allah created woman from the body of man, he took the power, if he took woman from man and took power from man to give to woman, if Adam comes and take that power back, then he's basically taking that life from the woman and putting it back to restore his own, right? And thereby woman would be no more, and Adam would be by himself. Again, according to him being lonely, but he would be with Eve, right? because Eve took his power. So he would be, or the devil took his power, right? So he would be with the devil. It would be him and the devil, like Adam and Eve, right? Okay, that's what that was the game. So we've been reversing what Allah had done, Allah had created. So now you can see why they had to be this crap had to be lowered to the lowest dimension of creation, of the world, of heaven, so it would not affect the rest of the world, of the rest of heaven. Man had to be quarantine. Being lowered to this dimension was a quarantine of man, right? Okay. And he wasn't going to have that consciousness to be able to create and destroy all of heaven, right? Okay. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, now, and then, so it's still basically, as I said, the same thing misogyny is, okay? To take what the beta males are doing. They are trying to take the power from woman, or take the power from the alpha gamma male by repressing him, okay? Because he's not able to produce, and he's not able, okay, and he's not able, and he can't get the power from, he can't get the power from woman, okay? He can't get the power from woman, so he got to go back to the devil to try to get it back, and that's what this homosexuality is about. Keep on going back to the devil, back to the devil, back to the devil to get the power. But the devil does not have the power anymore. When Boaz and Jechan got changed, the devil does not have power. He's trying to get power, but he doesn't have power anymore. He doesn't have it anymore. Okay? And that's what you have with all these false flags, trying to get power. And notice it's all happening in the east, right? They're trying to get the power from the east, right? Okay. They're trying to get it from Islam, right? Because Islam is the new Judaism. Islam is the new Christianity. Islam is the one where the power is. Okay, like I said, alhamdulillah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm a Muslim. Born in the day of Musa, I'd have been a Jew. Well, okay, when my ancestors were brought to this land, I was a Hebrew. My ancestors were Hebrew Jews, right? Okay, now if I would have been, if my ancestors would have been brought here, okay. Now, notice, okay, when the Vatican, the Catholic Church went back to Africa, they started making people Christians, right? They weren't Christians at that time. They practiced their own native language, spirituality. And there were Jews, Muslims, and Africans who practiced their own spirituality. So my ancestors were Jews. Then, alhamdulillah, I came into the knowledge of Islam, and I embraced Islam. Okay, it's the same as in the reference book that I call the Bible. Okay, a spiritual reference book. Okay, because it's not like the Quran where the word of Allah is in that book, and the word of Allah, the pure word of Allah. It's man's interpretation of the word of Allah, and it's the Beta Caucasoids male's interpretation of the word of Allah. So you dang sure can't trust all of that. So anyway, so based upon what is stated that the prophet born of a virgin would do, the message of the prophet born of a virgin would do, when at the return would go into the constellation of the constellation, the consciousness would be retrieved from the constellation of Aquarius, right? During the age of Aquarius is when the consciousness would return, right? So now we have the age of Aquarius and the consciousness has returned. When did the consciousness return? The consciousness returned January 28th, 2011. That's when the Christ consciousness returned. And it went in the house of Aquarius. And when it went in the house of Aquarius, what did it do? It went into Aries, the head of man, which represents the head of the celestial sphere, the constellations. Aries is the head of the constellations. So Uranus which represents Aquarius, went into Aries in 2011, right? And in 2011 is when Uranus went into Aries. Oh, that's what I said. What I mean to say is in 2011 is when those lights appeared over Jerusalem and lit up Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay? And that is, Al-Aqsa Mosque is the mosque, Temple of the Mount in Jerusalem. Okay? So those lights appeared, those celestial angels appeared, right? The chariots of the Merkabahs of Allah appeared, and the consciousness went into was placed on earth again, right? So the Christ consciousness appeared in Safar 24th, and that is January 28th, 2011. Returned to earth, and it went in the house of Aquarius, right? It went into Islam. Okay, the Christ consciousness is in Islam, and that's why they're trying to get into Islam. That's why they're trying to get into the East. That's why they're trying to get Al-Aqsa, the Jerusalem. That's why they're trying to occupy Palestine. That's why they're trying to get into Iran. That's why they want to get rid of Syria. That's why they want to go into Syria, because what? The consciousness is going to come through Syria. I mean, the manifestation of the consciousness, okay, it's going to come through Syria, okay? The prophet born of a virgin is going to come out of Syria. So that's why they want to get in. They want to destroy it. They want to get it before it disseminates into the world, so they can keep this so-called Caucasoid beta Jesus homosexual Christ thing, Vatican thing, Zionist thing going on, Wahhabi thing going on. Okay, so you want the Christ consciousness, embrace Islam, subhanAllah, because that's where it is. It's in the house of Aquarius. Pisces, the Christ consciousness would go into Aquarius, and that consciousness, the chariot came over Al-Aqsa Mosque in the month of January, Safar, which was Aquarius, January 28, 2011, and it shined over Al-Aqsa Mosque. So the Christ consciousness returned in the month of January, which was the in the celestial astrological month. It would have been Aquarius, the month of Aquarius, when Uranus went into the house of Aries. So the Christ consciousness has returned. Okay. Now, and the betas don't have power over it. That's why they're trying to get power, and they're scared to death because their little temple of Babel has fallen. Their commercial world has fallen. Now they're just trying to hang on with the military power. And inshallah, that's being taken by the angels because they are deactivating those nuclear power plants, as I said before. So they are losing power every day, and they're fearful of their little commercial power being taken because that's the only power they have, and they know it. They know they live in from their perspective, an alien world, right? Because it's all alpha, gamma, neutron. It's an alpha, gamma, neutron semen world, semen-filled world, atomic, okay, black atom, carbon, semen-filled world, and they hate it here. That makes them so uncomfortable. They're miserable. They are miserable. That's why they hide in their little mountains and their little caves and their little separatist cults and their little. That's why they have their little fascist, societies. Okay. Now, so So okay, so the beta Caucasoid male continued to turn to his spiritual devil father to get his manpower, but he doesn't have power anymore. That's why they want to eliminate Islam. Okay, as we said before. So they turn to their father for power as a source of power, you know, because remember, he took their manpower. Okay, now, because they want to get some power back, right? Okay, so hence the homosexuality is the only way that the devil gives his sons power, is if he can get them to, you know, to have anal sex with one another. That's the way he gives. That's the way they got to prove their love to him. We're going to go to video. Let me see. This is 1, 2. This is video 4. We're going to go to video 5. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, as we said, that's the way that their devil father gives them power. They got to prove their love to him by having sex, basically having sex with him, or letting him have sex with them. That's the game they play. They got to prove their love to him, okay, by giving him their soul, by giving him what they see as spiritual love, by giving them their pledging spiritual allegiance to him, by having engaging in homosexuality with him. That's the way that they are. They pledge their allegiance to him and their little